If you're looking for a Temur Commander or you're looking for powerful Temur Commander cards, we're here to talk about the first 5 cards to consider when building your deck.
And the video starts right now. Hello and welcome to the day.
Thank you for spending your time with us.
I'm Jake.
I'm Joel. Welcome back to another episode of Jake and Joel Are Magic. It is time to get into Temur Commander cards. But first, if it's your first time watching a Jake and Joel Are Magic video, and you want to stay up to date with the latest decks and strategy for Pioneer, Historic, Commander, Standard, and Brawl, you want to talk about MTG Finance news and specs, or you just want to see us open some booster packs, Jake, what should they do?
Just go down there, click like, click subscribe, just click a button. If you're logged in, just click a button. I haven't said that in a long time, but it really helps out the channel.
Yeah, just click a button. We would appreciate it. Jake, let's get into some Temur Commander cards, and where better to start than Mr. OG himself, Animar, Soul of the Elements.
Yeah, this card originally came out in Commander 2011. It was the first time that we got these specifically designed. It would have been called Rug at the time, red, blue, green. There was no Temur. Temur would later become the name of these colors during Khans of Tarkir. But Animar is one of those OG cards that came out in that 2011 Commander product, and it's notable to this day. It was reprinted in, I believe it was Masters 25, alongside Prosh, which was another commander that made it into there. It's a really strong card. It has protection on it. It interacts really well with, a lot of different strategies. So it's a fun card.
Yeah, the most on the surface strategy to go with this one. Obviously, you've got the pro-white, pro-black, but You go small creatures that also have some kind of bounce effects, some flash, some bounce built in so that you can just be casting creatures over and over again as quickly as possible. And then ramp up to something like an Eldrazi, because all your creatures are costing 1 colorless less for each +1/+1 counter you can get on Animar. You want to also build some kind of protection in if this is going to be your commander, so that you can keep him from getting removed, because honestly Animar is going to be your probably your main engine in that deck. You should probably build it so that you can ramp up to those big giant creatures too, if you choose Eldrazi, if you choose some kind of colorless other giant thing to play as your end game. But you definitely want to protect Animar if he's going to be your main engine for sure. But definitely. He's OG. I love this. I
love having that built-in protection that comes with the card. It's going to allow you to cheat a lot of cards out. And like you mentioned, you are building the deck in a specific way where you're trying to get as many counters on Animar, but you're also running big things in the deck. So it is a balance of small creatures and big creatures, and what is going to allow you to build your Animar up quickly. Obviously, the casting cost is low, so there's a nice recast rate for Animar if it does get removed. You can pretty much play it the entire game as long as you're building a good, solid mana base, but in these colors, it's not difficult.
No, definitely not. I mean, you got green. Next up, representing
you got
Temur,
green, baby. Yep.
You've got a card with a Temur watermark, Suruc Dragonclaw. It's another card that can be your commander, and we just have word soup rocking on this guy. Flash can't be countered. Creature spells you control can't be countered. Creatures you control have trample. Plus, it's a 6/6 for 5. I mean, this represents a lot of what Temur's about.
Oh, for sure. And if you're in an EDH play group or commander play group, and you have a lot of counter mages, this is a really fun commander to come in and disrupt that kind of, play style. It's can't be countered. You're going to be cheating things out that can't be countered. Your opponents are just going to be sitting there going, why am I playing blue again? And I just, I think the card is really good. I've never played it personally as a commander, but I do think it's really good. It's really good as a commander, but it's also really good in the deck as well.
Yeah, absolutely. You can play it either as the commander or in the deck. I mean, as a commander, you're going to be playing, you've got access to blue, so you're going to be playing some card advantage spells. You're going to be playing a little bit of counter magic of your own, probably very specific, but you can play it. I mean, and the art itself, he's got a bear face in half on his shoulders as pauldrons. How more badass can you get?
Dude, it is some really, really badass art. It's really cool.
You ain't lying. Next up, it's got the word in the title of the card, Temur Ascendancy. This card very much represents another aspect of what Temur is about. Creatures you control have haste. I mean, players already, commander decks are already running cards like Anger, cards like Yavimaya Fires. This adds 1 blue instead of the 1 color if we're colorless, if we are comparing it to Yavimaya Fires. And you get, whenever a creature with power 4 or greater enters the battlefield under your control, you may draw a card. Jake, you had a great breakdown of what each of these colors represent on this card.
Yeah, red is the haste. It's a really good representation of Temur, and it's red is the haste. The green is the power 4 or greater, so that should show you what direction you want to take the deck. You want to have big, powerful creatures. And then the blue is that draw. That's that card advantage. That's that velocity that's going to allow you to continue putting out threats and being able to, remain viable at the table. This is a great card, and it's an enchantment. Enchantments in Commander are really important because they're sticky.
Right.
They're hard to remove. You have to normally use a card. You can't just kill it like a creature. It's not, that's why we have a card like Moat that says non-flying creatures can't attack, and it's $800.
Right. Yeah, and card advantage in Commander. Card advantage is huge. Inevitably, you're going to be sitting there with 1 card in hand, and all of your opponents are going to have 14 cards and a Reliquary Tower rocking in your face, and they've got answers to everything. And so you've got to have something that's going to cantrip every time you play a creature, and this is a great card for that.
Yeah, a card that comes to mind is something like Rampaging Baloths, the card whenever a land enters, you're getting, I believe it's a 4/4 beast. I don't think it's a 6/6, but I think it's a 4/4. But the fact that, if you can figure out a way to consistently draw off of creatures with power 4 or greater, that's going to be a really good engine for your deck. It's going to make sure that you're able to continue playing spells and that you don't get blown out by your opponents.
Yeah, you're 100% right. Next up, Temur Charm, because what better way to represent the Shard than the charm of the Shard? This one is, the first mode is kind of a removal, the second mode is kind of a counterspell, and the third one is some kind of overrun avoidance. I mean, that is the Shard at its heart.
Yeah, I think, that's why the card is on this list. Everything here is good for an EDH environment. You want, if you're sitting down at your local game store and you're playing against some random opponents, or even if you're playing with your friends, you're going to want a card that's versatile, and the fact that this has so many different modes is why it's on the list. And of course, it is a good representation of Temur. You're looking for something that is represented in each of those colors.
Right.
And that's why we have Temur Charm today.
Yeah, exactly right. We don't have the charms pulled for all of the shards, but we do think that the charms are playable if they have at the very least two modes that are playable, and a third mode that can come in when you need it. With this one, I think that the fight mode, because you should be probably playing big creatures, and the counter mode, because people tap out for X spells and tap out for, their 8 cost enchantment all the time. And then the third mode, creatures with power 3 or less can't block this turn. If you're playing against some kind of tokens deck, that could be viable, but we'll see. Look at this. Jake, you want to introduce our next big buddy here?
Oh, God. It's like the most tilting EDH card ever. If the deck that it's in is good, this card will just absolutely run away with the game.
This is one of my EDH generals, and so I was adamant that I wanted it on the list, but Jake agreed that it should be on the list before we had even talked about, oh yeah, by the way, it's one of my generals, so I love this card.
Yeah, it being Joel's general aside, it just is such a strong and powerful card, and it's so good. I cannot stress it enough. Just being able to cascade into permanence and then cascading again into more permanence, it's what we always talk about on here, which is velocity. What is going to get you through your deck? What is going to maintain your board presence so that you can secure the game? And honestly, it has the power of green, so even though it costs 8, it's worth it.
Yeah.
This card is an absolute house, and it will win games by itself.
The
just
way I
simply
built
by
the deck
casting it.
is you only really want to cast Maelstrom Wanderer once, and you want to flicker it back to your hand if it gets in danger, or flicker it from the board and back if it gets in danger, so that you can get those cascade triggers over and over and over without having to pay, 8 the first time. You pay that, but then 10 and then 12 and then 14. We want to cast it once and we want to protect it past that, but we want it to keep entering the battlefield. And so, yeah, it's honestly, a lot of times when I sit down at the table with this deck, I'm targeted out of the gate because green, I'm focused on ramping as quickly as possible.
Yep.
Blue, I'm focused on protecting Maelstrom Wanderer as much as possible. And then red is just kind of a tertiary color that allows me to play some good Gruul spells and some good Izzet spells and some good...
I'm thinking about Deadeye Navigator on this thing,
Exactly.
and it's just making me cringe. It's just like the most brutal... Like, if you resolve Deadeye Navigator in this card, it's over.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. It can be absolutely brutal if it is resolved and is hitting the battlefield. Jake, we're to our honorable mention, and the people are going, huh? What is this card? Everybody take a second and read the card while we talk about how
so fun.
This 3-mana spell in Temur is going to net you 3 cards. Yes, your opponent gets to choose them. Yes, your opponent gets to choose them from your entire library.
Yeah, they get to look through your deck. They get to see everything that you're about. And then they're going to give you 3 cards. And so you're getting 3 cards for one, but... The reason that this card made the list is because it's fun. That's what EDH is about. EDH is about fun. It's about weird interactions. It's about, go ahead, opponent. Pick out 3 cards to give me. And obviously they're going to give you the worst possible thing. I built my deck.
It's going to be awesome. Pick any 3 cards in my library. 1 creature, 1 land, 1, either instant, sorcery, enchantment, or artifact. Have a good time.
Yeah, exactly. And that's why the card is here. It's not one of those cards where we're like, oh, this is a must include. But it is the kind of thing where you read it and it piques interest. You go, wait, I'm playing a 3-mana sorcery to net 3 cards? I mean, sure, my opponent gets to look at them, but in a political game, you could be like, hey, you over there, you're my buddy.
Right.
He's about to win.
Non-creature, non-land in there that's
go
going
get it
to
for
help
me.
Us find it.
Yes. And so that's why this card is fun. This card is great. Maybe it should just be on the list. I don't know if it's a good representation of Temur, but I think it's excellent.
His creatures are about to overrun us. Guided Passage, you get to pick. There's a spell in there that rhymes with Flaspamous Fact, and it's going to wipe the whole board. Go ahead and search. Whatever you can find, just go ahead and find it.
Yeah, man. I think the card is excellent. I'm happy that we're talking about it today. It makes me want to go out and pick one up.
Full disclosure, before we started researching this episode, I had no idea this card existed. I'm definitely getting it. It's definitely going into my Maelstrom Wanderer deck, and I'm definitely going to have a hell of a time playing it. Jake, I think that takes us to the end of our list. Yes, it does. And that takes us to the end of our Temur First 5 with an honorable mention of a 6th. We appreciate you watching. If you like the video and you don't mind it, we would love if you would hit subscribe. If you want to support us further, we got a Patreon. The link is down in the description below. And if you want to hang out with us, we're streaming most Tuesdays and Thursday evenings over on Twitch. Jake, I'm tapped out. You got anything else?
I don't have anything else, just the sounds of cooking.
The sounds of cooking. We will see you later. Thank you for watching. Bye.
Bye.